Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Choice of Rebels. We just finished week 7. We tried to smuggle some goods, but the lady was not having it. And now we're about to finish up week 7 and see what happens. So, we set our 15 remaining followers of practicing with their captured weapons and still unfamiliar bows. By the end of the week, they feel better prepared. As the end of the week draws near, we account for 35 scouts on multi-week missions. 10 are looking for a tithe barn, 10 are hunting for vulnerable temples, 15 are looking for opportunities to steal mules. We added around 15 bushels. By the end of the week, 3 more bandits have fallen too ill to leave the camp. Some of the sick have begun to recover thanks to the increased supply of food and blankets. 3 left the sick tents this week. Another 4 children have fallen ill, but with ample rations for the sick, 1 child has recovered enough to leave Tarot's care. In the coming week, 8 of your healthy bandits will be needed in camp to take care of for the sick and dying. When all is said and done, you now have 356 followers, up 3 from last week, of whom 176 are too young, and 18 others currently too sick to go on raids. You face the next week with morale poor. Week 8. For weeks you've been searching for someone more skilled than Tarot to come and treat the sick in your band. The best physicians in the Hegemony are trudges, who can directly affect the balance of humors in the body. They're obviously not an option, but a local hedge doctor can use herbs, drugs, and leeches to do more or less the same job. All those cautious inquiries through Castellan finally pay off. He tells your scouts about an apothecary who would pay a quick visit to your band for 15 drachms, paid in advance. The elderly woman makes no protest at donning a blindfold for the hike up to your current camp, and her no-nonsense maternal manner quickly disarms any reluctant or nervous patients. You watch, impressed, as even your grimmest outlaws consent to her prodding their bellies, testing their waters, and letting blood to relieve black bile. Your own persistent cough recedes after drinking the Desica tea that she prescribes. The rest of the band also seem to feel healthier, happier, and more confident in your leadership after her visit. Awesome. Thought of something else that might help with morale, Captain. Breeden offers the next morning. It's a small thing, but what about choosing some sort of symbol for the rebellion? A sigil they can put on a banner, a daub on walls after raids. Sometimes the small things satisfy them most. You don't see how it could hurt. The rebel sigil you suggest to the band would be an 8-rayed sun, the opposite of the Hegemony's Omphalos, a threshing flail, a griffin, sigil of the Sheridan Royal House. I'd like the band to choose our sigil. We'll see what they want. They're delighted at the idea and fall into an intense discussion. In the end, most of the band agree that the rebellion symbol will be the griffin of the old House Royal. Every Sheridan will recognize the crude form they've just sketched in the dirt. You are all taught from childhood that drawing anything like it would bring the Alisters to kill you. Shayard rises again. Ellery crows. Let the Caragons know it in fear. At the start of week 8, when you send out the barley run, the band has around 15 bushels of grain in stock. You'll need to get that up to 54 before the end of the week if everyone's to eat at the rations you've set. Your total wealth is 150 silver drachms in lieu of 1,000 more. That's more than enough for your needs. With that many drachms, you could buy up to 77 bushels. How many do we actually want to buy from Fences this week? Let's see. We have 15. We need to get up to 54. So we need 40. That's going to take some mules. How about 35 and we go hunting? We'll do 30. Yeah, let's try 30. Let's do 30 bushels. We have 15. That brings us up to 45, so we only need 9 more. Carrying back 30 bushels require all of your free pack animals and 17 outlaws. They trudge off into the trees. You'll just hope you'll see them again by Pyre Day. The scouts you sent to look for mules have returned at least 2 good prospects. A remote monastery of Thanos in the northern rim and an Alistair mine garrison which keeps its own supply mules. We've already done the supply garrison thing. We get 6 mules easily from the Ecclesiast or 10 from Alistair's if the battle goes well. The scouts looking for a vulnerable tithe barn have found one with only a small deployment of Alistair guards. Okay. Your 10 scouts searching for a temple have identified only a short distance into the civilized rim. Got 137 healthy adult bandits to commit this week, assuming your grade 1 makes it back. We'll need 10 more. So, first we acquire more mules. We will steal from the Alisters and ecclesiasts. We will raid the Alisters for 35 bandits. And we'll send Zvad on this one, because I want to go and raid a temple, I think. Zvad returns at the end of the week with 10 mules in tow, having lost 6 outlaws and overrunning the mine camp. When we hit the garrison, 6 of the Alisters escaped and fled back along the Remersford Road, Captain. The others had a few good weapons and 30 drachms on them. You can send some of your 102 free followers to scout for more opportunities to steal from mules from the Hegemony. Yeah, let's send 15 scouts. Okay, so we've got 10 mules, or we've got 17 mules now, which is nice. Let's... How many? We have 87. Let's raid a temple. Your outlaws are still for the most part terrified by the idea of raiding a temple. Besides yourself, there's only one other leader in the band who might sustain a raiding party's morale against a furious priest. You've noticed Breeden has a knack for setting people's minds at ease on these matters. After rebellion, you feed the Rim Square hell its panic, believing they damn themselves by fleeing rather than submitting themselves to Thurger's punishment. Breeden calmed them down, speaking fluently and with conviction about the injustice of the thaumatarchy and Angel's compassion. There's something in the way she talks about the angelic that reminds you of her Hera Olenna, a confident warmth. We've already seen this. Yes, we want to bring her along because it definitely helps us. You plan the first robbery carefully, choosing a nearby town which you know to be reasonably, sizable now. An hour after their departure, you leave 15 more women and men down toward the town, bows and blades hidden under ragged pilgrim cloaks. We've done this before. You feel an unexpected twinge of awe and have to swallow back the sudden moisture that fills your mouth. Yep. There are 5 other worshippers in the dripping now courtyard, including a slender young nobleman and his dour-looking chaperone as your raiders drift in. Before they can say anything, you give a piercing whistle, cast off your cloak, bring your staff up to a warrior's stance. The priest and most of the pilgrims scramble away, squealing as 2 of your bandits slam bar the gates. The young noble's hand flies to his hip, but clenches the air. He must have left his sword at the now gate. After only an instant of shock, Ecclesias throws out her arms and cries, "Anathema! Damnation on any blasphemer!" Hoping her way with words. We've already done that. With scarcely a heartbeat's pause, Breeden cries, "You're no servant of the merciful angels." The priest stammers. Thanks to Breeden, all into the wealth you bring back to the camp with no casualties. You get no more reluctance from your followers about future raids on temples and monasteries. You clearly made the priest of Thanos your enemy, but you and your inspired little band of outlaws can live with that. Cool. We got plenty of loot. Let's hunt for game, and we have 67 other people. Let's scout for more institutions to raid. Let's look for more temples. Let's hunt for game. We've got 57. Let's send 40 and train the rest. They bring back 5 rabbits per thing. Save us around 10 bushels, and hide should sweat 24 drachms. 17. Why don't we hunt for a bear as well? They return at the end of the week, having caught only petty game, rabbits and a few starved quail, enough to save your food stores around 4 bushels. Tracked the bear to its den, captain, but found only fur and bones. Looked like we reckon survive well in a week or so. You put all your healthy bandits to use. As the end of the week draws near, you and Breeden account for the 25 scouts on multi-week missions. 10 are hunting for vulnerable tithe barns and mules. This week, for a second time, the Thurges come hunting you. Early one morning, you hear a ripple of terror run through the tents. A scout has just reported 2 Thurges flying in broad, lazy circles far off to the east. You have to abandon some of your food and canvas as you hurriedly break camp. Split up, you order, struggling to keep your voice below a shout as you see your confused band milling about. Into your dozens, scatter and hide. You split up the sick into different groups, hoping that even without enough mules, the healthy will be able to carry the invalids along. But the distant screams you hear later that afternoon testify that you haven't escaped the Thurges' notice. The other outlaws with you curse or break into horrified tears. They found us, you say bleakly to Yevon. The faintest tinge of sulphurous smoke reaches your nostrils, making you want to retch. Now they know where we are. Some of us, not all of us, your blind quartermaster seems remarkably disinclined to increase your pace. Still, from the tautness in his voice and his clenched fist, you guess his mind is on Ellery, Penn, and other friends who might be in the less fortunate groups. Listen to that thunder, Captain. A big storm is coming. Can't be easy to fly in that, I reckon. The downpour saves you. Your scattered groups flee through the rain until they can grope their way no further and press on again as soon as they can see their sodden hands in front of their faces. The next morning some begin to find you again, wordlessly joining you in flight, but it will take several days before all the survivors of the Thurges' attack manage to reunite. When they finally do, you find the Thurges claim 61 of your followers, including 20 children and 15 adults from the sick tents. We didn't have the mules to outrun them, Terret says dully, his hair scorched away and one eye swollen shut. Why didn't you assign us more? From the disgust on the faces of the other outlaws, you can tell he's not the only one asking that question. Because we didn't have them. At least 12 of your followers have fallen ill from their hard march through the rain. Your only source of relief is that the Thurges don't reappear on the eastern horizon once the rain stops. Whether they lost you or just stopped looking, satisfied with the 61 they'd managed to kill, you've survived their attack this time. While it takes a long and hungry time for your scouts to guide it back to you, your barley train eventually returns, adding around 30 bushels to the 26 in your stores. By the end of the week, 5 more bandits have fallen ill. Some of the sick continue to recover thanks to the increased supply and food, but 3 left the sick tents this week. Radmar is looking a bit more like his old self and talks as if he's ready to take on a legion of Phalangites single-handed. 3 have fallen ill, but 3 have recovered. Okay. We're doing okay. An anguished mother catches your arm as you walk past the sick tents. Our children, Captain. We're losing our children. More than 10 gone already this winter. Please, you have to do something. The 4-year-old in her arms stares glassily at you and whimpers, too weak to wail. Behind her, a dozen other parents look up to hear your answer, some despairing, some blankly angry. They must hold on. Plead with them to hold on. We're going to bring in more food somehow. We got more mules now. You can see the disbelief in their eyes from the moment you start talking. But we're not going to start taking it from the nobles or merchants, Captain. The mother wails. Thou, Oakfell, why? The true reason you've been determined not to steal from anyone but the servants of the Hegemony is that Thaumatarchy is going to violence against ordinary, mostly innocent folk. I want our new order to be different. I'm desperate not to lose the respect of my fellow Shayardines, such as the nobles and merchants who might one day support the rebellion by turning to thievery. It should be possible for a rebel with enough wit to avoid stealing. And damn me if I'm going to give up on figuring out a way. They might one day support our rebellion. I'll not force the cost of our survival onto ordinary innocent folk. That's how the Hegemony works. Do we want to be like them? If we turn to thievery, we'll have no hope. If we all die here, they bloody well won't join us either, cries one outlaw. Soon it become clear that the steady drum of casualties has proven too much for the remaining parents and child keepers. We don't care if the angels damn us, Captain. One former Hellick growls. Sooner that, 1,000 times sooner that, than watch any more of our children die. There's grain enough in the yeoman barns to keep us alive, if nothing else. They refuse to hear any more from you and leave en masse, armed and weary, peeling off a few other malcontents who have chafed at the direction of your leadership. Of all the children, only loyal Penn Thatcher and Alice Stonehewer defy their guardians and insist on staying with your dwindling band. God, it sucks. At night, your sparse dinner is interrupted by a dozen young outlaws storming in from the sick tents. One of them stands trembling in front of you, a knife out thrust in accusation. Our sisters and brothers are all ill to death, and you're letting them die, Captain. You're not even trying to raid the caravans and estates that could feed them. At least the bloody nobles tried to keep us alive for the harrower. It's a terrible cost, you agree, dry-throated, but we've no choice but to bear it. The young bandit's lips twist, and his body trembles as if it's all he can do not to stab you. Breeden's voice is sharper and loud enough to carry over the uproar. Perith, the Archon paying you more than she paid Federal? You're taking Oakfell's side then, Reaper. The ugly, threatening tone makes your throat go dry. You are on the verge of being stabbed. But Breeden steps forward with hesitation, her eyes hot and tone savage. Damn right I am, boy. Captain Oakfell's the only reason I'm alive and that any of us are here fighting today. The Hegemony aren't scared of us, they're scared of him. They'd want you to blame whatever goes wrong on the captain. They'd love to see you attacking him just because it's a swiving hard winter and we're sick and dying. So either you're getting silver for this or you're a fool who's doing the Thaumatarch's work for free. Young Perith and his friends try to protest, but Breeden's tirade has brought most of the other bandits to their feet in support of you. The dinner breaks up in heated argument but no violence, and by morning some semblance of order has been restored. When all is said and done, we're back to utterly dismal. You now have 96 followers, down by 39, and there are 156 children who have deserted or mutinied, and a brutal 65 who have died in the past week, of whom two are too young and 17 others are currently too sick. Half of your free followers spend the week scattered around the rim trying to rejoin you after the Thurges attack. Dang. Whew. Radmar runs up the hill toward you, looking merrier than you ever remember seeing him. While you wait for him to reach you, you try to think of a time when you heard him laugh without a bitter edge. Captain, good news, damn good news. Tell me, deer, our scouts have seen deer. The usually truculent Sheridan pauses, trying to catch his breath, giddy with delight. At least one big herd, probably more. They're crossing back into the wild from the northern rim. You stare at him for a moment, then crow to the young bandits keeping watch below you. Tell Breeden to break camp. We're moving north to hunt. She already knows. Redmar doesn't lose his toothy grin. Damn me, Captain Thanos. Thanos knows I didn't think much of you, but you haven't got us all killed before the deer came back, and that's something. A leader has to start somewhere, you say dryly, imagining to hide your annoyance under your even stronger relief. Radmar inclines his head, studies you guardedly for a moment. I also asked Vod if he would see Porrick and me wed today. Aw. You blink. You sure he's your missing half then? Always been sure, Radmar growls firmly. Wasn't going to do anything about it before. Marriage would of course have been a clear sign that two of them wouldn't be breeding, hastening their path to the harrower. But no need for safe mates now, Captain, not for any of us. Now Porrick and I can wed as free as any yeoman or aristo, and I want it today. And so before the day is out, your rebellion has its first wedding. There's no priest to officiate, just a recognized leader of the community to serve as witness. One of the grooms can't speak his vows, instead nodding silently as Alice Stonehewer recites each one in turn. At the end of the ceremony, there's no feast. The newlyweds pack up camp with everyone else and begin the long, weary trek north, at the end of which they'll spend the night under a shared canvas. A day earlier, you wouldn't have imagined that anything could encourage your band more than news of deer spotted in the windward, but you think Radmar and Porrick's unlikely wedding comes close. For the Helots, it's the most joyous confirmation yet that they're no longer just breeding stock for the sacrifice, and it's a sign of looking ahead. The winter is almost over, and you've survived. Yes! At the start of week 9, when you send out the barley run, the band has around 14 bushels of grain in stock. You'll need to get that up to 17 bushels before the end of the week if everyone's to eat the rations you've set. Your total wealth is 180 silver drachms and 3,000 loot. That's more than enough for your needs. We could buy 215. How many bushels do you actually want to buy from fences? We have 14. Let's buy 21. Actually, let's buy 26. No. How much? 26, 20, 27. No. Let's see. So we have 14. I want to get that up to double 17. So double 17 is going to be 34. And I need to get 14 up to 24. So I just need 34. So I just need 20. Let's order 20 this week. Heck, let's do more because we have more. Let's do 25 because we have more mules. Carrying back 25 bushels will require a convoy of 5 pack animals and 5 outlaws. Are you happy committing that felony followers to the grain run? It will leave you with only 4 healthy adults left for all your other raids. Holy crap. Yeah, sure. What about mules? change how we're using mules. Terra informs you that 17 followers in his care need at least 2 or 3 mules. At the moment, the band's 17 mules, 3 are reserved for the sick. We'll give him 4. Cool. We don't need any more mules right now. Let's hunt for game other than deer. I have 4. We'll send 4 to hunt. That'll be it this week. On average, each manages to bring back around 4 rabbits. Cool. Alright, you put all your healthy bandits to use. As the end of the week draws near, you and Breeden account for the 25 scouts on multi-week missions. By the end of the week, 4 more bandits have fallen too ill to leave the camp. Some of the sick continue to recover. In the coming week, 3 of your healthy bandits will be needed in camp to care for the sick and dying. When all is said and done, you now have 96 followers, unchanged from last week, all of whom are too young. Of whom two are too young, and 18 others currently too sick to go on raids. You face the next week with morale utterly dismal. Okay, so week 10 is here, and now we get to stop this video, and we'll try week 10 next time. I hope that we come back with week 10 being correct. So thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I really hope you're enjoying yourself. I'm actually really enjoying this game. It's very interesting. The decisions feel like there's a lot of weight to them. And despite half or more of our people leaving, we have made it through the winter. So we'll be able to feed ourselves, hopefully. But in the meantime, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Like and comment on the video, and I would love to see you watch some of my other stuff. But until then, I love you very much. Bye-bye.